Good Monday morning, just a little earlier for us this morning as we are coming in from Destin. If you notice the difference in my background, yes, I'm sitting on a bed. It's just how things roll. This laptop is stacked on two pillows and we're going to roll with this anyways. We are wishing that the weather was a little bit nicer here on our spring break. I'm looking outside to the most beautiful ocean ever, but it needs some sunshine to go with it. Okay. When you come from gray, cold, rainy Michigan, snowy Michigan, and you come down to the beach for a week, you expect sunshine. So we're still waiting. We're certain it's going to peak out for us. I know, Amy, yes, you're down the street from us. The weather hasn't been the best yet, but at the end of this week, I think we're going to get some good days. So I am talking to you guys this morning about managing your time, and I'm feeling very sorry for the people who have a bedroom next door to me. Oh my goodness, I don't have. How does this happen? Okay, she's gone now. I was like, I can't mute her, but oh, now Kristen's unmuted. For the love, guys, help me out here. Okay. I wanted to talk about time management this morning and being disciplined with your time. It's one of my favorite things to actually talk about and to teach about and to help people with, because managing my time is something that I do extremely well. You know, sometimes we all have our certain superpowers, and one of them for me is really optimizing time and managing time really closely so that we can get as much done as possible in a given day, especially when you're really trying to crush a new business or you're an entrepreneur. I was just getting ready to say, I feel bad for the people who are next to me in the bedroom because I think they're trying to sleep in and I am being a little bit loud, but it's just going to have to roll like this morning. Okay. So first, let me ask you a question. Do you feel like you have your time managed, organized, and optimized? Do you feel yes or no in the comments is good? If you can type that in for me. Do you feel like you have your time managed, organized, and optimized well? And thank you for your honesty, guys. Oh my goodness. Thank you for your honesty. I really appreciate that. So first of all the things I'm going to talk about today, if you're watching this on live or on replay or from our app or our YouTube channel or listening to it on our podcast, I will send this out in email, all of my notes, so that even after listening to this, you can kind of go through and maybe check off some things, do some of the things I'm going to talk about so that you can get better at managing your time. It's just that you have an overabundance of things that you do. So it's more about balance. So sometimes it's not about managing your time well, it's about balancing some things out too in your lifestyle to see what is actually the most important things that you need to get done and what are some things that maybe you have to say no to, which is a huge problem for type A go-getter entrepreneurs, is saying no sometimes because we have to do that to manage our time appropriately. There's not many humans I know that get more done in a day than Kristen Scott. So it's more about balance for you. And I know that, and we're going to start working on that more closely, but all this is going to go out in email too with my notes so that you can go back and kind of check on some things. So I start a mastermind with some of you guys on April 1st, but we've been doing pre-work a couple of weeks. And in that pre-work, I had everybody go through and do some time management questionnaire type stuff. Like I ask them to track their time for 7 days, morning, noon, and night, and kind of fill in those blanks, because if we're going to track your time appropriately and we're going to try to scale a business and go to the moon, we need to know what you're currently doing with all of your time. So I'll talk about that for just in just a minute too. But at the end of your day, so if you're not tracking your time very well, or you think you're tracking your time very well, at the end of each day, do you feel like you've accomplished a lot? Or do you feel like you've accomplished a little? Do you feel like you've squirreled out all day and you were doing a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit here, but nothing really feels like it got complete or done, or like you mastered anything for that day? Do you feel like you were distracted all day, or do you feel like you were triumphant with your time? And then, answering those questions, do you have a system that you follow? Is there, if you find yourself at the end of each day struggling to feel accomplished and getting all of those things done on the so-called to-do list or the sticky notes that we overwhelm ourselves with, do you feel like you were triumphant in that system? Or do you feel like at the end of the day, it was really just so a lot of people will feel actually more stressed out at the end of the day. I can very easily do that to myself. And I found myself falling in that hole. It is why I created the system that I use now. And I will share that in the email. Oh gosh, I'm saying that. I'm like, I still have to go put that link in the email because I already put all the notes in the email to go out and scheduled and the link isn't there. So I got to go back to the email and put the link in there. But if you guys use Trello, you will find the system very easy to implement. If you don't use Trello yet, maybe I think I have probably a free course somewhere on just the basics of using Trello. But I realized, I don't know, maybe 6-8 months ago, I've always been pretty good at managing my time, but at the end of the day, I was still feeling a little stressed out. I was getting to the end of my week and not accomplishing as much as my brain told me I should be accomplishing. But again, I'm type A. A lot of us are type A on here. And so we feel like we should be accomplishing a lot of things that we might not be getting done. And then you feel like at the end of the week, like almost like a failure. And I hate saying that, but that is what we do to ourselves sometimes. So I created this system in Trello, and you could really take this snapshot and use it in a bunch of different ways. The reason why I like Trello is because of the way that it works. And this is not a lesson on Trello. I just want to share with you a little bit about what I do and why I do it. So I've created the system in there that goes, each day has its own card. And in those cards, I have a to-do list, and it's actually a checklist in there. And the human brain likes when you can check things off, cross things out, and actually feel and visually see an accomplishment. There's something to that hardwired in our brain. So I decided, instead of having these notepads everywhere and sticky notes and things I needed to get done on to-do lists that would overwhelm me, I needed a system that would work where I could check things off and cross things out. And what do you know, in Trello, in their checklist, if you check it off, it crosses it out too. So it's like this double whammy in my brain that I've accomplished a lot when I just accomplished one task. You can actually order of importance that checklist too, and literally drag and drop different things. So as I plan out my day, actually, if, like, for example, I'm on vacation this week. I already have, well, the Trello board has like months set up. And so each week is logged in there. And so I can go throughout this week while I'm trying to be on vacation. My type A brain is like, no, you're supposed to be working all the time. You're supposed to be working. Right. So I'm trying to give my brain a little bit of a rest, but when things come up that I know I need to get done and things that are really important, I can very quickly on my phone or my laptop, because they operate the same way, I can open up that application and dump tasks that I know next week have to get done, so that I can free my brain up to do vacation. Because if I let those adding, I'm not going to enjoy myself. It's about balance, right? So here's where the balance piece comes in. The reason I do that is so that I can have some balance and do take a break, so that when I get back, I crush those to-do lists even better. But also when I get back to my week next week, that's a full work week, I already have my list of all the things that myself some, it says my internet connection is unstable. Can you guys hear me okay? Are we good? Okay. If I start breaking up, somebody let me know. It popped up on there. There's a lot of people in this house, so get off the Wi-Fi. No, just kidding, because then you'll end the Zoom. Don't get off the Wi-Fi. So I do this so that I can create some balance in my life, so that I can create some freedom from my brain, so that I can also be very effective next week when I get back. And in my brain, if I'm starting to go through some things where I'm like, ooh, that actually needs to get done while I'm here, it's going on this week's task list. So I'm still have those lists going. All right. So enough about Trello. That's really why I do it. And one more thing on that, at the end of the week, sometimes at the end of the week, we'll get there and we'll go, oh, I didn't accomplish everything I thought I was going to accomplish this week. I failed. I didn't do as much as I think I should have. Well, I have a plan to review on those checklists. So at the end of the week, actually at the beginning of the week, I have headers for, some main categories, this business, my personal, and my personal meaning, like my health and wellness, all of the things that are personal to me, my financial things that I have goals for. So I have 4 categories. I fill out those categories looking at the week ahead. So I have an overall picture of what I want to accomplish for the week. And at the end of the week, I go back and look at all the things that I've crossed off and what have I accomplished in those overall big groups, because then that will help me determine if I've had a good week or a bad week as far as getting my stuff done. Okay. So that's the system that I use. A couple of things. Have you ever tracked your 7 days? Like, have you ever gone back? Actually, I don't want you to go back. And what I told the people who are starting my mastermind on the first, I don't want you to track a week based on what you think you're going to do or you want to do or how you think your week should be. I want you to go track 7 days, how they actually happen in your life. Be very realistic. Take a look in the mirror and say, this is actually what I'm doing all day, every day, because we're going to find some space in that calendar. We're going to find some time that maybe we have these goals, but we're not spending our time appropriate to those goals we keep trying to reach. And somehow we got to get them more on an even playing field. But the only way to do that is to first go and track it and get real with how our schedules are operating. How much time are we actually spending on our business, focused work, doing the things that will produce the income producing activities, as we call them, that will produce the results that are on that goals list that we have. How much time are we actually dedicating to that? Or are we dedicating way too much time to Netflix and chill? Are we dedicating way too much time to hobbies? Are we dedicating too much time to what other people want from our lives rather than what we want from our lives? Right. So it's once you sit down and you do all of that tracking of all the things that you are already doing, you might actually find that your goals need to be adjusted for a little bit longer runway, because those things that you've tracked are really important and you cannot move those out of the way, and you're beating yourself up over something that you cannot control. And so you might have to run at those just a little bit slower. And that's not my MO, you guys. I don't ever tell somebody to run at their goal slower. What causes burn is this uneven balance, right? Our brain is telling us this is the goals. This is where we're set. This is where we want to go. This is the ultimate achieved thing we're running after. But our schedule is here and we keep running at something we're not achieving. So at a certain point, we burn out and we never get here because we're not being realistic about what's happening with our time. Good, bad, or ugly. Maybe it's all appropriate, but we've set the goal way too high. So we're constantly running at something we could never achieve because there's not enough time in our days to actually get there. So maybe we need to bring the goal down here, which is not my MO. That's not my usual way of teaching people stuff, but I also know what causes burnout. So when we're talking about balancing things, maybe some of these things need to get taken out of our schedule. Maybe some of these things aren't as important as this big goal is, and we need to take these things out so we can level up here. I hope that makes sense. When a lot of people ask me about balance, I honestly, as a type A entrepreneur, I don't find that right now in my life, there is much balance. This vacation is about the most I get to balancing out my life. Sometimes we have to do that. I have a teenage kiddo. It's his spring break. I only get a couple more years left with him. So this was some balance, but I'm also on to work. So I do want you guys to take a look at your 7 days and track them. It will help you be more realistic about what we're trying to accomplish or what you're trying to accomplish. So time management discipline is the ability to manage one's time effectively in order to achieve goals, meet deadlines, and it helps us prioritize tasks, reduce stress, and increase productivity. So that's the overall, what is time management discipline? And we've been talking about discipline this whole month. So we did emotional, we did physical, we did time management and physical, emotional, mental. Yes, mental discipline. So 4 weeks all about discipline, because I do believe that when people that saying, what's more important, motivation or discipline? It's always going to be discipline, because we are not going to wake up. Do you think I woke up motivated to jump on this Zoom this morning when I'm looking at the beach? No. But there's some mental discipline and some time management discipline that plays into my head. So I do know that discipline is way more important than motivation, because we are going to wake up very unmotivated on some days, but we have to have enough discipline to hop on and do the hard things anyways, right? So if you can learn discipline, and if you guys haven't caught all those episodes, again, you can find them on the YouTube channel. You can find them in our Hustle and Slay app. If you don't have the app yet, you can download it, and all the replays are on there. So if you're like, I missed all of the discipline besides today, or I'm watching this on a replay somewhere, you can go and listen to all of the emotional, the physical, the mental, because they all work in tandem. You actually need all of them. And last week I did emotional discipline, and I had so many people reach out to me about last week's. So I hope that this week's, the time management one, is just as important to you. But the emotional discipline from last week, I know a lot of people found themselves checking themselves all week long based on their emotional discipline and how to operate a little bit cleaner, so that they aren't getting wrapped up in other people's nonsense and what's happening on social media, and taking the 24-hour rule. I got a few people that messaged me about that, taking that time out. So if you need to go back and review any of those, please do. They are all in all of those places: podcast, YouTube, Hustle and Slay app. Okay, so some common challenges when it comes to time management discipline. Difficulty prioritizing tasks. It's why I really, if you want something that is going to prioritize your tasks for you and keep you on track every single day. I know a few of you have implemented the Trello board. And if you haven't and you need it, check the email. I'm going to try to get the link in there. If you don't have it, I can always message you the link. It's a template. You can literally click on it and create your own from that template, and you can start running your days identically to how I do. But you can also edit that template so that it operates more for you too. Okay. So it's not something where you have to follow it to a T exactly how I do it. It's just what works for me. So what works for me, I try to pass on to other people. So if you have some difficulty prioritizing tasks, that will definitely help with it. Number 2, setting realistic goals. I just kind of talked about that. Maybe our goals and our time after we've tracked it don't match up quite the same. And we need to move some things around, which I call plan, do, review. Managing distractions. Oh, in this world, is it not so easy to get distracted with all of the things on social media? And we talk about people who are running and operating an at-home online business, whether it's network marketing or you just have an online business and you work from home. It is so easy to get distracted. How many times I can tell you I've gotten up from my desk to go get another bottle of water or something to come back and keep crushing the presentation that I'm building, or the meetings that I'm planning, my agendas. And I go out and I grab the bottle of water, and 30 minutes later, I'm standing in my closet going, what was I supposed to be doing? Right? Because I've gone into the laundry room and I started a load of laundry, and then I went back out to the kitchen and started prepping dinner. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that one shirt, I was supposed to throw that in the laundry too. And I end up in my closet, all because I got up to get a bottle of water. Right? So we can get distracted so easy. And it's one of the biggest problems when it comes to time management. Procrastination is another one. We tend to think that we'll just do it later. Hence why I have to use that Trello board. If I keep on task with that, at the end of each day, I can check back in and see what I got done. And the cool thing is I can then copy the things I didn't get done and move them to the next day. Because you know how many times we say we're going to get something done and then we don't get it done, and then the next day and the next day go on, and then it's Friday and you're like, I thought I was supposed to do that on Monday, or it just totally gets forgotten. Having something that I can keep in my phone, on my computer, it's all in one place. It's not a sticky note. It's not a notebook. It's one place. I can always refer back to it and move things forward if I didn't get them done. But procrastination is one of the hardest things for a lot of people to overcome. I thought this one was interesting. I found this somewhere else. Fear of failure. I guess that's not one thing I've had at top on my list. So that one's a little bit harder for me to understand. But when it comes to time management, I really can't even speak to that one that much, but fear of failure was top of a lot of lists I was looking at when it comes to managing and disciplining your time, is that people will put things off in fear of actually failing at getting it done in the first place. I'm like, wow, what a mind screw. We're really going to get afraid of getting, but hey, everybody's a little bit different, right? And the things that distract them and keep them from hitting their targets and their goals. And the last one is like, honestly, if we're going to call ourselves out and take a look in the mirror, I do believe that number one for almost everybody is laziness. Unfortunately, that's kind of true. If we're getting to the end of our week and we haven't gotten all of our things done and we track our time, we're probably going to find that we made all kinds of excuses of why not to get to our to-do list, why not to work on our business that day, why not to make all the phone calls, why not to do all the reach outs, because we actually just got lazy. We'd rather do this than that. The pain versus pleasure. I love talking about that. The pain versus pleasure. Is it more painful to get the task done, or is it more painful that you're like not getting to be lazy or do the thing that you want? Or is there more pleasure in checking off the to-do list and crossing it off and having it done? Or is it more pleasure going out into the living room, popping on the couch and watching some Netflix and chilling, right? So I do believe that laziness is probably one of the biggest time suckers for people. So some strategies about improving time management and discipline. You guys ever heard of the 80-20 rule? The 80-20 principle? There's a book, you can read it, that I can off the top of my head, not remembering the author of it, but the 80-20 rule, it's a principle that minority of causes, inputs, or efforts usually lead to the majority of the results or outputs or rewards. Yes, lack of organization is definitely one of the biggest reasons. It's organizing, prioritizing tasks was the first one that I said. It's kind of goes along the same exact thing as just keeping your time organized and optimized. So the 80-20 principle, it's literally 80% of what you achieve happens in 20% of the time spent. One of my favorite things I ever learned from one of my mentors, Danelle, is what we call bang time. And I like the name bang time because as soon as you say it, people are like, what? Are you talking about bang time? No, I'm talking about bang time for your brain. Okay. Bang time meaning, when is your brain optimized to work the best in your day? We're all different. Some of us are first thing in the morning when we pop out of bed. Kelly already went running this morning. I am certain that her bang time happens right after she goes running because her brain is full of endorphins and is just going, right? Mine generally happens after I have a workout in the morning. I jump in the shower. I'm going to go and get my work done. And it's usually sometime between 8 and 10 a.m. till about 12 to 2 p.m. That's when I know I am working the best. So that's when I should not be off running errands. I should not be Netflix and chilling. I should not be doing my laundry. I should not be doing any of that. If I am focused on building a business and getting all the way to the top in that, I need to be spending that chunk of hours, whether it's 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever, however your brain operates. That's when you should be doing the most amount of work and effort that goes into your building your business, because that's when your brain is working at its best. And that's what we call bang time. So when you're doing your tracking of 7 days and your habits and the things that you get done or don't get done in a given day, I want you to pay attention to when you feel like your brain is at its peak performance. And that's when we're going to plan to review your schedule so that you are not doing laundry during that time. You are not Netflix and chilling during that time. You are not running errands in that time, but you are working solidly on your business. Office door closed. All distractions are gone. Family, you're going to have to wait until I'm not in this area of my schedule. Here comes another balance thing for you guys. If your family and your friends and your coworkers are dragging you into other things while you are in the best optimized time for your brain, you, my friend, have to be the one that takes control of that. You have to set boundaries. You have to know when that time is for you, and don't let anyone steal that time from you. It is the most valuable piece of gold that you have in your whole time management schedule. That block of 2, 4, or 6 hours, whatever it is for you, you shouldn't let anyone mess with that time. That's like your superpower, that time. You will create the most, you will do the most, you will achieve the most, you will crush all the goals, you'll get all the things done, you'll come up with your best ideas, you'll do your best lives, you'll do your best reels, you'll do your best TikToks, you'll create the best content in that block of time. Don't let anyone steal it. Do we got that? Yes. You're going to have to find a second bank time. I know some of those of us who still work the 9-to-5 jobs and don't necessarily have the opportunity to tell people to go away during that time. We do have to maybe find a second bank time. So that might mean optimizing your time. I got 2 minutes left. I talked way longer than I thought I was going to this morning. So stick with me for a few minutes extra if you guys can. I want to get through the rest of this list, and then it'll go out in email. If you're not on our email list, please just shoot me a message. I can add you to that so that you get the notes from these. But Anne, we're going to work on that because you're in my mastermind. So I know we can work on that. So for me, just a tip really fast, I would probably move my workout time. And I know that or do 2 workouts in a day, do a short one in the morning if you need it to wake up and get your day going. But maybe you get home at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whatever it is. And maybe you need some more of that brain crushing time from 6 to 9 or 6 to 8 for a 2-hour chunk. Go jump on that treadmill or go outside or get a walk, do something for 20 minutes to get those endorphins pumping again, chug some water, and let's go at it. Turn on some music that you love for those 20 minutes, something that motivates you, whether maybe it's a YouTube video, something that gets that brain flowing and going again so that you can get some more out of your day. Because we know when you're working those 9-to-5 jobs, sometimes it's hard to do both, but you will. So we'll figure that out with you. I don't want to jump off of here without talking about this one because it's how I filter decisions every day. And there will be graphics in this email that go out. But it's Stephen Covey's quadrants. I operate decision-making through the Stephen Covey 4 quadrants, like the back of my hand now, because I've done it for so long. It's how I make all decisions on how I manage my time. And this will help you create balance and boundaries if you know how to do this. And if you don't, I actually have on my Trello board a picture of this off to the side. So when I'm managing any tasks, I always have it front and center in my brain. Print a picture of this out, put it on your desk, print a picture of it out, put it on your bathroom mirror so that you're always thinking about how to manage your time. So there's 4 areas. Quadrant 1 is urgent and important. This is the do category. Okay. Then there's quadrant 2 that's not urgent, but important. It's not urgent to do right now, but it is important. We can't forget about it. This is the plan category. So these tasks come in, like right now, I just said I'm on vacation. I still have my Trello board. These are the tasks that are coming in right now to my brain this week while I'm supposed to be doing family and friends, and it has to go to plan. So it's got to go on the Trello board for next week, right? That's quadrant 2. Quadrant 3, urgent, but not important. These are the things that you delegate to other people. Hire it out, do the things that, and you might not be able to delegate all of those right now, but we're going to work on over time, the things that you can, the things that you can't. Some things are just going to have to take a little bit longer because you still have to do them yourself. We can't pay somebody else to do them, but those are the delegate things, urgent, but not important. And then quadrant 4, which is where you don't want to get stuck, is not urgent and not important. We need to just move those off, eliminate. Those things just need to get eliminated. And some examples of those really quick. So urgent, category number 1, urgent and important: crises, medical emergencies, pressing problems, deadline driven products, last minute preparations. Not urgent, but important: preparation, planning, prevention, exercise, relationship building, true things that you need to build. You can't put them off, but you can plan for them so that you're not like running around with your hair on fire. If you feel like, here's a great person, this is an example of who needs this the most. If you feel like on most days you are running around like a chicken with your head cut off, with your hair on fire, you are managing your time inappropriately. You need the Stephen Covey's 4 quadrants more than anyone. The people running around like their hair is on fire, like they can't fit another thing in their day, and they're constantly putting out fires. It's just about managing things. a little bit better. And your brain will automatically go, but Jess, I can't. I just have too much coming at me. It's always going to be like this. I promise you, it does not always have to be like that. But it takes some time to learn how to do that process. And then not important, not urgent interruptions, calls and emails, some meetings, many pressing matters that seem pressing, and not setting boundaries appropriately because you have somebody else always coming in and trying to manage your time for you. And then completely avoid this one, not urgent, not important, busy work, junk mail, some phone calls and messages, time wasters, people who ask you, you got a minute? You got a minute? Yeah, people will always ask you if you got a minute because they want to take up your time. They want to complain. They want to drain you. They want to whine. They have their own problems. They want you to solve them. The got a minute people drive me bonkers. A lot of times, if you ask me if I've got a minute, because some of you guys have, what is my answer always? What are we talking about? What do we need to cover? What are we solving? Because if I don't, I will have got a minutes going on all day long and I won't get anything done. It's no offense to anybody else, but my schedule is so important to me. If I took every got a minute, you guys would take, not you guys, people would take time, all of my time. So you have to be really careful with the people who do the, you got a minute. Okay. Yeah, I do. It just depends on what we're going to talk about. So I love that. If you can, like I said, the email will go out. There's some graphics in there that explain each one of those categories. Will help a lot. Will really help you manage your time a lot. Okay, I have some other notes here. I'm going to pop them in the email because we're well over 8:30. Can you believe it? I went over even on my beach vacation because time management to me is, like I said, one of my superpowers. I absolutely love it. I get a lot of things done in a given day, and it's because I stay super organized and I've created some major boundaries with my time. And I make sure I use my bang time appropriately. It's how I get the 80-20 rule fits in with that. I get 80% of my efforts done in 20% of my time because I schedule around it and make it super important. Brandy, if you can just pop me or Sydney a message, we'll get you, just give us your email. We'll get you on that list so that each week after these, you'll get the notes on all the things that I cover. You can also go to hustleandslay.app and download our app for replays. And then I'm going to try to start putting all of my notes in the app too, which is actually really easy to copy and paste. So when I will get that started. If you have the app, it's free. You can just download it and all the replays pop in for me. They also pop in for Sydney if you follow her for social media training. Hers get loaded in there on after she does her Wednesday mornings, but I'll start putting my notes in the app too, so that you have them in two places. So download that, but also give us your email. We'll get you on the list, and you guys go have a fabulous week. I know I'm going to go run on that beach right now. Just kidding. I might go walk on it. I don't think I'll run. See you guys later.